to teach me. In this video, we are going to head first into programming. We are going to learn to code from the scratch, which means we are going to catch all the syntax and we are going to write clean JavaScript or some other programming language. We are going to learn the programming concepts using simple methods. Everything including the if else, for loop and every other statements will be simplified in the upcoming videos. Let us play with the power of logic. We are going to be a poet and write awesome poem that computer listens. The main hurdle every programmer or every beginner comes across is what programming language to choose. In my point of view, any programming language is good. It is the real scenario. Any programming language will benefit you in the long term. But let us choose a good one that satisfies the following. A good programming language should come under the concept of OOPS, which means Object Oriented Programming Language. Object Oriented languages are based on classes and objects. Classes are like blueprint of the program. Objects are the real things that matter. Next, the programming language that we choose must be simple and useful. And the programming language that we choose must be on the current trend. The programming language should also be a web-oriented one so that every app can support web-based development. The fifth one and the most important one is that the language should be on demand so that you get enough jobs for development. So finally, we come to a conclusion to choose our programming language and we have chosen JavaScript for the same. The main point we chose JavaScript is that it follows and satisfies all the above said criteria. When coming to JavaScript, JavaScript is always sandwiched within HTML document. A HTML document just denotes the structure of a web page. In complex terms or computer terms, we call it as HTML DOM. A HTML DOM represents the structure in which a web page should be formed. A CSS is something that denotes the style of a web page. Styles include the margins, the width of a web page, the height of a web page, the colors, the font used, etc. and etc. CSS generally makes your web page more stylish. The third part is the JavaScript part. JavaScript plays handy during interactions. Whenever a website should be interactive, JavaScript is implemented. For example, you click on a button, it is written in JavaScript. A user gets an alert message which is written in JavaScript. Any mouse event is handled using JavaScript. For example, if a mouse clicks a button, a window will pop up and all these codes, all these interactive codes that you see is written in JavaScript. JavaScript makes the web page more interactive. And there is another library called jQuery. jQuery is based on JavaScript. jQuery is a set of JavaScript libraries that make programming much more faster and easier. Let us dive into the history of JavaScript so that we can tend to love this programming language. The rise of the web has taken JavaScript places it was never conceived to be. It all happened in 6 months from May to December in the year 1995. Netscape Navigator was the first browser to bring out a programming language that would allow web pages to become interactive. So the main purpose of JavaScript was client-side interaction. I mean client-side because client-side is the thing that you see on your computer screen. The images, the buttons that you click, the alert messages, all these denote the client-side. Server-side denotes the things that you cannot see in general, the processes, the algorithms, the recursive algorithms that runs on the background on a different server is called server-side programming. JavaScript is mainly a client-side programming, so it was found for interactivity within the browser. So whatever you see is JavaScript in a web page. Note that while some Java and JavaScript code may appear similar, they are in fact two entirely different languages that serve completely different purposes. This is very important. Java is nowhere related to JavaScript code. They just sound the same. There are several pros of JavaScript programming language. The first is that speed. Since it is a client-based programming language, it doesn't need a server to fetch information, so that it is of high speed. Second, it is simple. It is easy to learn and easy to debug JavaScript code. It is versatile. It is compatible with most other programming languages and it can stand on its own. The fourth is that there is no server load since it is a client-side programming language. There are ample frameworks for both client-side and server-side. Initially, JavaScript was formed as a client-side programming language, but later they also implemented it in server-side, and we have frameworks for server-side too. Since JavaScript has both client-side programming and server-side programming, an app generally requires both client-side and server-side. So you can develop a full stack app using JavaScript, which means an entire web application can be created using a single programming language called JavaScript, which is very, very essential that you have chosen and I have chosen JavaScript as the best programming language to learn. And it is also the most trending web-based programming language right now. There are certain cons of JavaScript too. The first is security. Because the code executes on the user's computer, in some cases it can be exploited for malicious purposes. For example, the code is available to anyone, so it can be mishandled. Reliance on end user. JavaScript is sometimes interpreted differently by different browsers. But certain standards have evolved in recent years so that this reliance on end user is not affected much. Overall, JavaScript pros are much more important than JavaScript cons since these cons are negligible. Let us see the power and future of JavaScript. Mean is a collection of JavaScript based technologies. The first, M stands for MongoDB, which is a database. 2, E stands for Express, which is a library. 3, A stands for AngularJS, which is a client-side framework. 4, N stands for Node.js, which is a server-side framework. With this mean stack, you can develop web applications from the client side and server sides to even databases. Mean is a full stack development toolkit, which means with a single programming language JavaScript and a database knowledge like MySQL, you could develop a full complete app from front end to the back end, which is really great about JavaScript. In this slide, I have displayed a sample JavaScript source code. Before that, let me add a point to this video. Every desktop user, mostly over 80% of his or her time, uses a single application called Chrome on their desktop. So, desktop is for Chrome. Chrome is based on JavaScript. For example, if you right click a web page in Chrome and go to the Inspect Element tab, you will get some windows popped up. These windows are called developer tools. Every web page is listed as JavaScript code in that Inspect Element windows, which means JavaScript is the language of the web. So it is highly essential that you understand JavaScript so that you can debug every web page and gather a lot of information about these web pages. So what I'm trying to say in this slide is that if you know JavaScript, you are the king of the browser and you are a king of web pages. Okay, here I have listed a sample JavaScript source code. This JavaScript source code is embedded within a HTML document. In general, as I said earlier, JavaScripts are embedded or sandwiched between HTML documents. That is where JavaScript resides. This is a simple JavaScript source code. Let me explain the output. My first JavaScript is hard-coded text, and there is a button called click me to display date and time. When this button is clicked by the user, we get the output of the current date and current time, which is denoted as Thursday, February 09, 2017 and so on. So what this client-side JavaScript does is that whenever a button is clicked, it is going to display the date. We will get into detail in the following videos about the syntaxes and understanding of the code. In this slide, you have just need to read the code once and just know that this is a JavaScript, this is how JavaScript is going to look like, and this is the output that we are going to get via this JavaScript code. This knowledge is currently enough. We will deal in depth in the following videos. So kindly stay tuned to teach me, because in the next videos, in the upcoming videos, we are going to dive right into the syntaxes of JavaScript and we are going to write real code in JavaScript. All those concepts of JavaScript, the entire syllabus of JavaScript is going to be covered in the upcoming videos. So kindly watch for the next videos to start programming in JavaScript. We are going to learn all the syntaxes, we are going to learn all the concept, and we are going to write clean and easy JavaScript code. So these videos are going to be continued till you are going to write clean code in JavaScript. So once again, this is your host Vijay, and thank you for visiting Teach Me. Have a great day and good luck.